The countdown continues for Christmas, and when you're thinking about the Christmas season, you don't really think about spirits. Well, sometimes they do. Yes. But if you're heading out to Winterfest, we're going to talk to you about some ghost stories. Ooh. We have Heather Shea joining us this morning. Good morning, Heather. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Fantastic. It's always fun when you come in and share your stories. I always tell people you literally know all the stories for everything. We'll give you a subject and you're like, I got you.
Yeah, that's kind of my obsession. I love stories. I love folklore. So
I love it.
I've got it every time. And we're talking about the holidays. It's kind of interesting because it's a lost tradition. But in Victorian times, families literally used to gather on Christmas Eve, light a fire in the fireplace, and tell ghost stories all night.
Wow.
So this does have some precedent in history, the sharing of ghost stories around the Christmas time.
I love it.
And I mean, if you think about it, it's a perfect time, right? It's gloomy and chilly outside. Everyone's gathered around the fireplace.
Very true.
Yeah, it gives you that vibe. So, and it's nice in here. We've got the Christmas tree going.
Yep, we still have the lights dimmed.
Right.
Christmas tree, so we got a best of both worlds.
Yeah, candle going. So we've got like the whole vibe that I was just describing. We have it going in here.
Right perfect. We're right where we need to be.
Yes.
So if you want to follow along with photos, if you're a visual person like me, you can head on over to lostelpaso.com because every story right now that Heather is going to tell us, she's got photos that go with them on the website. So again, lostelpaso.com. And again, we're joined with Heather Shea from Lost El Paso Paranormal. So let's get to it. What's our first little story for today?
Now, if you scroll down on that main page, you'll see the link at the bottom. It's going to open up a page that has a little small gallery. I added some photos, and I thought it would be fun today to kind of talk about, when we're out at Winterfest, we're thinking of holiday fun, presents, gifts, getting ourselves some hot cocoa. But we don't often always think about what we're surrounded by, which is a very old city that's rich in history, and it does have a lot of spirits. So, when you're at Winterfest, you're there at San Jacinto Plaza taking your selfies. You might want to check those later when you get home and look in the background. You just never know. You see a person who wasn't there when you took the photo. Or check the windows of the buildings, that are around the placita. We do talk to security guards sometimes that tell us, that work in the placita, they tell us they see things in those buildings at night through the windows and things like that. So you just never know. I'm just saying, keep your eyes open when you're out there. But I thought I would share some specific stories with you all. One of the first ones, and I did the first 3 photos you will see reference this story. You will see a photo of the beautiful Hotel Paso del Norte. Now, that hotel, from the early 1900s, very, very old, very historic. As a matter of fact, just for fun, I did add another picture there, the second photo. People used to actually go up there on the rooftop of that hotel during the Mexican Revolution. And they used to actually watch the battles raging across the border from the roof of that hotel. And you can see a photo of that there, of a bunch of citizens, a bunch of El Pasoans gathered watching history take place. So you can already tell this is a place that has a lot of history sunk into it.
Yeah.
But it does have a kind of a weird mystery, and it's something that is referred to as the jumper. We don't really know who or what it is. Now, I have put my artistic rendition of what it looks like.
That's a cool picture.
Thank you. That's kind of my artistic rendition of what people have described seeing. And it happens year-round. It's been happening for decades, actually, where people can be down there downtown and they report seeing what looks like a woman either falling or jumping off of that building, of that roof I was just referencing. Now, of course, that's quite startling. People will immediately call 911 or call for help. But when authorities arrive, they never do find any trace of anything. We've not been able to determine who or what that apparition might be or what her connection could be to the hotel. But in the interior of the hotel, there also is another spirit that's been seen, and it is a spirit of a young lady in a pale or white dress. And she walks the halls. She's said to look very sad. Sometimes she's said to be crying. So maybe cousin of La Llorona, we don't know. We always, speculate that. She does kind of sound like the description of La Llorona a little bit. But we don't know if that has connection to what is seen, up on the roof, standing, or even jumping from the roof. We don't know. But like I said, when this place has so much history, it's been there for such a long time, it's kind of hard to pinpoint what that energy could be connected to. And we still, at this point, to the day, sometimes we'll be downtown and the officers who patrol downtown will
Yeah.
come up to us when we're talking about it, and they'll tell us.
They'll say, oh yeah, we know.
We got a call last week about her. So, you know, she's still seen down there. We don't know what she's doing up on the roof. We don't know why she's seen. But if you are down there and when you're right there at Winterfest, you know, right around the corner of that beautiful hotel, make sure to look up, all the way up. Maybe you'll see her up there.
Ooh.
Yes.
That's ooh. And you have to take a look at the photos. That's a real cool,
Yes.
like reenactment photo that you posted.
Thank you.
You could go to lostelpaso.com to follow along. We have Heather Shade with Lost El Paso Paranormal. We're talking about stories, Winterfest ghost stories sort of
Yes.
deal. What's the next one we got?
The next story actually ties into something that is both one of our most historic moments in El Paso, and at the same time, one of our weirdest unsolved murders on the same day. This was in 1909, and the first photo you can see there, it is a photo of El Paso looking quite festive in the downtown area. You'll see, you know, there's people everywhere. There's American flags everywhere. The reason why it was decorated like that is if you look at the next image, you will see that two presidents, the president of our country and the president of Mexico, were having a meeting here in El Paso. That was the infamous Taft-Diaz meeting. It was the first time an American president and a Mexican president ever met in person. So this was a very, very big deal. And it happened right here in El Paso. So the strange part about this story is, as you can imagine, there was thousands of people on the streets to see this momentous moment, these two men coming together. You also had lots of security, police officers, security of both presidents, naturally. So this was there was a lot of people, but there was still a lot of law enforcement in place.
Yeah.
That's why it makes it a strange story, because there was a young man who was about 15 or 16 years old that was there watching the festivities. His name was Lawrence Wimber. And somehow no one knows to this day, but he was actually found murdered there in the placita in the middle of all this.
What?
Yeah. And so it's a strange story because he was not robbed. He was not, he was just kind of found sitting on the bench. And so nobody heard a melee. There was no fights or scuffles. He was not robbed in any way. And how could that happen in the midst of all these people, all these law enforcement presence? Nobody really knows. But to this day, security guards do tell us that sometimes when they're in that area in the middle of the placita, late at night, like 2, 3 in the morning, when it's really dead, they will feel a presence there, especially at a certain park bench. And I did add a third photo in there just, to wrap up that part of the story, because we did some work with Concordia Cemetery some years ago where we raised money to put a headstone for him. He had been laid at rest all these years with no marker. So this was done a couple of years back with the help of Henry Flores, our mentor. And on the day when the headstone was put into place over his grave, later that night we had a tour, and as we were taking the tour, that photo was captured. And if you look at the photo, you can see the tombstone, and it looks almost like someone behind it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to make out, and I can see that.
Yeah, it looks like he has a jacket, a white collar, you can kind of see his head. He's like watching us lay his tombstone. That's what some people
It's like,
felt.
about time.
Yeah, he's like, thank you. It's like he never got justice for his murder. So it was never solved, never figured out. It's a big question mark to this day. People speculate, but we don't really know. But like I said, to not get your justice and then not even have a marker.
Yeah.
It wasn't right. So now we hope that wrong has been righted, and maybe that photo that you see here that was captured, maybe that was him coming out to say that he approved.
And he's finally at rest.
Right, he approved that he knew he had been recognized and his story had been told. So.
Oh wow! And you got to follow along with these photos. The photos just add so much more to it.
Yes. And they will be staying up for the next couple days. So you can't look at them right now. You can go check them out later.
Yeah, if you're driving, don't look at them right now.
Right.
But lostelpaso.com is where you can go to follow along. If you can, click on the photos. Again, we're with Heather Shade, Lost El Paso Paranormal. And let's get to our final little ghost story.
All right. Now, the final story actually revolves around one of my favorite historic buildings in downtown. That is the Merrick Building, or the St. Charles. You can see some photos of it there. It's quite gorgeous building.
It's beautiful.
Just recently undergone an amazing renovation where they took off a lot of that on that first floor and found stained glass under there, which they exposed. So you got to go check it out.
Where is this located at? I know I've seen it.
This is actually on El Paso Street. So you know where that beautiful lights installation that was just put in a few.
Yes.
Right. The luces.
Yes.
Right. That.
Okay, I can see it now.
Right, that portal to the street, to El Paso Street, where the lights are hanging, that's right on the corner where you'll find this building. So it's very, very beautiful. If you want a photo op, that's a great place. Very Winterfesty, because it's got lots of festive lights, and it's got the beautiful El Paso sign that you can get a photo op. But this place is very old, dates back to 1887. And while you're out there on the Las Luces, you can look over, and I would like you to check out those upper windows and just keep an eye what you might see. As you can see, those upper windows now are, they're all residential. This used to be, back in the day, a hotel. It was called the St. Charles Hotel, and it had a restaurant on the first floor. Now, I did include a photo at the very end here where you can kind of compare it now and compare it, the same photo I took to a photo of it in the late 1800s. Right, and you can see that it's very unchanged, which is kind of rare for El Paso. It has been very perfectly preserved. So I kind of feel like that adds to a little bit of the energy because it has been so well preserved. A lot of things still linger there. It's said to be very haunted. Another reason why is because a lot of people might not be aware of this, but this building sits atop an old cemetery plot.
Oh.
Yes, there used to be a cemetery located on that plot and the plot next door. It was in the 1800s, and for a short time, it was used as a place to bury soldiers that had been in various, wars. And they weren't there for very long, probably about, they believe maybe 2 decades or so, and then they were removed into other locations. But as you can imagine, having a disturbed cemetery under this building, it can definitely add some energy. In addition to that, there have been several murders and other things that have happened in this building. The owner of the building, Ernst Kolber, he was actually shot and killed in the lobby during it was a dispute over the tenant at the time was being evicted. So yeah, there's been quite a few things that have happened in that building. So people that have lived there in those upper apartments tell us it's very haunted. Things like waking up in the night and seeing, one woman reported waking up in the night and seeing a soldier standing at the foot of her bed. Oh. Which is extra creepy because, as I just mentioned, the people that were buried there in that makeshift cemetery temporarily were soldiers.
Okay, so
right, so fits perfectly with what this young lady had experienced when she lived there. So people that live there to this day are still telling us, yes, we experienced things, footsteps, figures, voices, things like that. This is a very, very active building. Due to all those things I mentioned, the history, the cemetery, the unsolved murders. So that right there is, it's not only a beautiful building and a beautiful,
really nice. Yeah,
it's a beautiful piece of architecture, lovely building, but also it's in a gorgeous place, perfect for photos or lights if you're wanting to do that this weekend. And like I said, keep an eye, especially on some of those upper windows. That's where, in those apartments, that's where there's said to be some of the activity. Sometimes people see figures looking out of those windows. So like I said, when you look at your Christmas photos this year, look in the background. You just never know what you might be capturing.
You might be capturing a Christmas ghost experience.
And there are those that believe that at this time of year, as we go closer to, thinking about family members who have passed and stuff, it's kind of like we open that connection a little bit more.
And they're coming to visit.
Exactly. So, even though we don't always think about that in the forefront, we don't think about ghosts, they're still there. So, they're there for the holidays just like everyone else.
Not just spooky season, Halloween,
right, they're
or
there.
Dia de los Muertos.
Right.
Christmas season too. So
see, they're the best guests because you don't have to put them in your house overnight.
You don't have to
you don't have to give them food. You don't have to get them a present. There you go. So they're great guests for the holidays.
That's funny. So if you heard the stories and later on you want to go back to check out the photos so you can see exactly where the locations are at, and maybe you're going to be heading out to Winterfest this weekend, go to LostElPaso.com. And you can also go there to check out more things that Heather Shade has going on with Lost El Paso Paranormal. What else do you have coming up?
We are on a little hiatus till after the New Year's because, we're going to celebrate and do some family stuff.
Nice.
But in the beginning of the year, as you know, we've got our new Haunted Neighborhood series that we're kicking off, which we just started. We're going to get back into that. And I'm very excited because I have just started something brand new. What? It's going to be, you guys are the first ones hearing
breaking news.
Yes, breaking. It is called Shade's Traveling Tales. And it's gonna be kind of like what we're doing already, but we're gonna take it out there.
Out of El Paso, like
Yes.
around the area?
Yes, close by the area.
So where people can go visit still.
Right.
Oh, that's so
I don't
cool.
want to divulge any of the super exciting locations yet, but it's going to be locations that, yes, El Pasoans can access, but we're going to be going a little bit outside of the El Paso. We're going to be taking it on the road and taking you guys on some very new adventures that I don't think anybody's ever done before. So
Yeah,
just stay tuned for that. It's just a little teaser.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes,
man.
it is. I'm so excited about it. So stay tuned on that.
And if they want to stay tuned and find more details on that, they can go to lostelpaso.com, and how
Right.
else can they follow you?
You can follow us. Our biggest social media is Facebook, because we go crazy on there. We have tons of people on
You
there.
post a lot of great photos.
That's our most interactive. But Lost El Paso Paranormal on Facebook. But of course, we're on all the other social medias. If you have one that you prefer, other than Facebook, you can find us there as well. And I'm Heather Shade. You're always welcome to look me up too. Hit me up, give us a call, shoot us an email if you have questions about anything. We're happy to answer and share our knowledge of the spookiness of the city.
I love it. And I love when you come and join us on the show and share your knowledge with our
Thank
listeners.
you.
Appreciate it.
We always have a good time.
Any big plans for the holiday season? Just relaxing.
No, we're actually just relaxing after having such a busy Halloween and Christmas and
that's
everything. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to, believe it or not, just having a very quiet
Doing nothing.
holiday. Right. Having a quiet holiday this year. So hopefully not too many ghosts disturbing and
Like, not right now, ghosts.
Yeah.
Please step
Yeah.
out.
Right. But yeah, so we're looking forward, but we will be back at it in January. Also have a big birthday coming up in January. So there's going to be, so it's going to be all part of the celebration.
Ooh,
So-
but then we're gonna have to bring you back on to celebrate your birthday.
Yes, I would love to. That'd be so cool. But yeah, we have a lot of things coming up. So
I'm excited. Thank you so much for joining us, Heather Shade, again.
Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you, Heather.
thank you. Happy New Year, everyone, and Merry Christmas.
It's Iris and Grizz in the morning on 93.1 Kiss FM.